Well, hello and welcome to another installment of For the Living of These Days, Epiphany Edition. The topic, Blessed Are You. In the Beatitudes, Jesus begins his Sermon on the Mount, chapter 5, with the Beatitudes. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain and he sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to speak and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you, utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So in this brief meditation, I want to share a portion of a sermon preached by Reverend Dr. Sam Wells, who's a vicar at St. Martin's of the Fields in central London. He preached this at Duke University Chapel January 30th in 2011. Also want to give a shout out to my Bishop, Kristen Elfelman White, who shared this in a sermon today. Father Wells' sermon, entitled Dwelling in the Comma, I want to share just the last two paragraphs of the sermon, just focus on Matthew 5, verses 1 through 12. He said, because you see, Jesus doesn't speak the gospel, he lives it. Turns out that the Beatitudes are nothing less than the story of Jesus, and every single one of them anticipates the moment of Jesus' journey to and death on the cross. He's poor in spirit when he's taken on the sin of the world. He mourns when his heart is heavy in Gethsemane. He's meek when he's falsely accused and yet never says a mumbling word. He thirsts on the cross. He's merciful when he says, Father, forgive them. He's pure in heart when he says, not my will, but your will. He's a peacemaker when he tells Peter to put down his sword. He's persecuted and reviled by the priests and scribes and soldiers and bystanders at every moment in the Passion story. This is Jesus' autobiographies, Wells continues. The Beatitudes are Jesus saying, this is who I am, and this is how to be like me. This is how to be me, to be my body in the world. To be a Christian is to live the Beatitudes, Wells preaches. Let's look a bit more closely, he continues, at what that means. He says every Beatitude comes in three parts. There's the first part, which is really a description of the cross. It's poor, it's thirsty, it's meek, it's merciful, it's persecuted. Then there's the last part, which is a description of the resurrection. Each Beatitude has a resurrection promise. They will be comforted. They inherit the earth. They will be filled. They will receive mercy. They will be called children of God, and theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The Beatitudes are a description of Jesus in his cross and in his resurrection. To be a Christian is to live in Jesus' cross and his resurrection. But wait, Wells continues in his sermon, between the cross and the resurrection lies a comma. Every Beatitude has a comma in the middle. That comma is a kind of valley between the horror of the cross and the wonder of the resurrection. I want you to think about that comma for a moment, that pause, that place where the cross and the resurrection meet. That comma is your life as a Christian. To be a Christian is to dwell in that comma that lies between the first and the second half of each beatitude. That comma is your home on earth. That comma represents the pathos and the joy of the Christian life. That comma is where you find Jesus. And what does it look like to be a Christian? Jesus is saying, the people who know are those who are closest to my cross. And the closer you get to my cross, the closer you get to resurrection. Wells continues. If you're one of those people, happy are you. If you're not one of those people, start hanging around with those who are. That's what it means to dwell in that comma. Jesus is the place where cross and resurrection meet. So are you. It's time to stop limiting ourselves to just 1/3 of the gospel. It's time to live the whole thing. It's time to dwell in the comma, Wells proclaims, where the cross meets the resurrection. This is where we meet Jesus. This is what Christianity is. This is where to find it. This is how to live it. This is blessedness. Blessed are you. Wells concludes. And so I want to invite you to live in that comma between the cross and resurrection, to find your home there, and to live that into the world, to live the beatitude as that intersection between the horror of this world and the hope of this world, the cross and resurrection. So until we meet again, you blessed children of God, peace.